Love is supposed to feel safe. It's supposed to bring peace, not confusion. But sometimes we find ourselves in relationships where something just doesn't feel right, and we can't explain why. We try to hold on. We try to fix things. We tell ourselves that maybe it's just a phase. Maybe he's tired. Maybe he's stressed. Maybe we're the problem. But deep down, in the quietest corners of your heart, you already know something's wrong. You feel it in the way his eyes don't light up when he sees you anymore. You feel it when you send a long message, and he replies with one cold sentence. You feel it when you're sitting next to him, yet your heart feels completely alone. And still, you stay. Because you remember how it used to feel. You hold on to the good days. You replay the sweet moments in your head, hoping they'll come back. You keep loving him harder, thinking maybe he'll notice, maybe he'll change. But love doesn't work like that. Love shouldn't be something you have to earn. It shouldn't feel like you're chasing someone who's already walking away. Sometimes he doesn't say he's fallen out of love, but he shows it. In his silence, in his distance, in all the little ways he used to choose you, and now doesn't. This video is for the ones who are questioning, for the ones who cry in silence and still smile for the world, for the ones who feel like they're too sensitive, too emotional, too needy. You're not too much. You're just with someone who doesn't see your heart the way it deserves to be seen. If you've ever felt that gut-wrenching doubt, if you've ever laid awake wondering, does he even love me anymore? This is for you. Because love isn't just a word, it's action, it's effort, it's presence. And sometimes we stay in relationships where the word love is spoken often, but never truly shown. So here are 12 signs that he doesn't really love you, even if he keeps saying he does. Listen carefully, not to overthink, not to fear, but to find clarity. Because the first step toward healing is telling yourself the truth, not the version you wish for, not the one he keeps convincing you of, but the truth your heart has been whispering all along. Let's begin. 1. He stops making time for you. When someone truly loves you, they find time, even in the busiest days. But when he stops making time for you, it speaks louder than words. It's not always about grand gestures or hours spent together, but in the small moments, the check-ins, the calls just to hear your voice, the effort to see you even if it's for 5 minutes. When that effort fades, it's a sign. You start noticing how plans are always maybe, how messages are left unseen, how the time that once felt like a priority now feels like an inconvenience. You start making excuses for him, telling yourself he's just busy, stressed, tired. But deep inside, you feel it. You feel the shift, the space growing between you. Time isn't just about presence, it's about intention. And when he used to make time without you asking, but now even your reminders are ignored, it hurts more than silence. Love doesn't just disappear overnight, but effort does. And when the effort disappears, love begins to fade with it. The worst part is that you remember how it used to be, how he once couldn't go a day without hearing from you. And now, days pass like you were never a part of his routine. That's when it hits you, not through a fight, not through harsh words, but through the absence of something that once felt so natural. That absence tells you everything. 2. Conversations feel forced or one-sided. You know something's changed when talking to him doesn't feel easy anymore. The conversations that once flowed so naturally now feel heavy, like you're pulling words out of silence. You ask questions, try to keep things going, but his replies are short, dry, distant. It's like you're the only one trying to keep the connection alive while he's already emotionally checked out. There's a quiet kind of pain in one-sided conversations. It's not loud, it doesn't scream, but it lingers. You start feeling like a burden instead of a priority. You talk, hoping for warmth, hoping to feel close again, but instead, you're met with cold replies and disinterest. His eyes aren't in it. His words aren't in it. And slowly, neither is his heart. You begin to overthink every little pause, every dry yeah, every sigh. You wonder if you're being annoying, if you said too much, or if you should have just stayed quiet. But deep down, you know, this isn't how love feels. Conversations in love aren't perfect, but they're mutual. They're safe. And now, they just feel like work. Like a one-person effort to keep something alive that's already slipping through your hands. And that's the hardest part. When the person you once talked to for hours now makes you feel like you're talking to a wall. You miss being heard. You miss being felt. You miss him. But maybe he's already gone. 3. He gets irritated over small things. At first, it was little things. A joke he used to laugh at suddenly annoys him. A question you ask turns into a problem. You start to notice how easily he snaps over things that never used to matter. And it hits you, slowly but deeply. His patience with you is gone. When someone loves you, they don't just love the big things. They embrace the little things too. Your quirks, your habits, even your flaws. But now, those same things seem to bother him. He rolls his eyes. He sighs. His tone changes. And every tiny moment becomes a reason for him to pull away instead of come closer. It's not the irritation that hurts the most. It's what it represents. That he's no longer choosing kindness, no longer choosing to understand you. The warmth in his voice fades, and you begin to feel like you're walking on eggshells. You think twice before speaking, before doing anything, because you're afraid of his reaction. You start blaming yourself, wondering if you've changed, if you're the problem. But deep down, you know, it's not about the little things. It's about the love that's slipping away. Love is patient. It holds space for imperfections. And when that patience dies, so does a part of the relationship. His irritation isn't about you forgetting something small. It's about him forgetting how to care. And that's when you realize love should feel safe, not sharp. 4. He avoids talking about the future. There was a time when talking about the future felt exciting. You both would dream together, places you'd go, a life you'd build, silly plans that felt like promises. But now, when you bring up us in the future, he goes quiet. He changes the subject, laughs it off, or gives you vague answers that don't really say anything. It starts to feel like you're the only one planning for something that involves two people. You try to be patient, thinking maybe he's scared, maybe he needs time. But deep down, you know when someone wants you in their life long term, they don't hesitate to make room for you in their vision of tomorrow. Avoiding the future doesn't always mean he's leaving right away. It just means he doesn't see you there. And that hurts more than a breakup, because while you're investing your time, your love, your hope, he's silently pulling away, brick by brick, with every non-answer and shrug. You replay moments in your head, trying to find signs, trying to convince yourself it's okay. But love doesn't fear commitment. It embraces it. Even in uncertainty, real love says, I don't know what the future holds, but I want you in it. And when he can't say that, it says everything. Sometimes silence about the future is louder than any goodbye. And you realize, maybe he never saw forever the same way you did. 5. Your feelings are always dismissed. There's a special kind of loneliness that comes from loving someone who doesn't validate how you feel. Every time you try to open up, when something hurts, when something feels off, he brushes it aside. He calls you sensitive, dramatic, or says you're overthinking. And slowly, you start to believe it. You begin to question your emotions. You hold things in, afraid of being judged or misunderstood. You try to sound less emotional, to make your feelings easier to hear. But no matter how softly you speak your truth, he still doesn't listen. And that silence cuts deeper than any loud argument. Love isn't just about sharing joy. It's about being a safe place for pain too. But when your feelings are constantly dismissed, the relationship starts to feel one-sided. It feels like you're carrying the emotional weight alone, while he decides which parts of you are worth acknowledging. And the worst part? You start to shrink. You start to hide parts of yourself just to keep the peace. You smile when you're hurting. You stay quiet when something's wrong. All because every time you tried to be honest, you were made to feel wrong for even feeling. That's not love. That's emotional neglect wrapped in empty reassurances. Real love hears you, even when it doesn't understand you, right away. Because listening isn't just about hearing words. It's about honoring the heart behind them. And when someone can't even do that, you already know what they truly value. 6. He only reaches out when he needs something. At first, every message from him felt special. A little buzz on your phone could light up your whole day. But over time, you start to notice a pattern. He only reaches out when he needs something. Not to ask how you are, not to hear your voice, not because he misses you, just when it's convenient. When he's bored, when he needs a favor, or when no one else is around. You're not a person to him anymore. You're a backup plan, a safe space he turns to when the world turns its back on him. And the saddest part? You still answer. Because deep down, a part of you hopes this time will be different. That maybe he'll finally just want you, not what you can give. But real love doesn't feel transactional. It doesn't make you feel like a pit stop. It shows up, even when it doesn't need anything. It listens without asking. It cares without conditions. When someone truly values you, their presence isn't based on usefulness. It's based on connection. And when you realize that the only time he remembers you is when something's missing in his life, it starts to feel like you're the one always giving, and he's the one always taking. Eventually, it stops feeling like love and starts feeling like being used. And that realization, it changes everything. 7. Physical affection feels distant or robotic. There's something deeply painful about being touched by someone who no longer feels close to you. The hugs are there, the kisses happen, but something's missing. The warmth, the intention, the connection. It starts to feel like he's going through the motions, like physical affection has become just another routine, not an expression of love. You notice how his hands don't linger like they used to, how his embrace doesn't hold you the same way. There's no spark, no pull, no comfort. It's like being with a stranger who remembers how to touch you but has forgotten why he ever wanted to. And the worst part is pretending not to feel the difference. Pretending the way he holds you still makes you feel safe, when in reality, it just makes you feel more alone. You keep hoping it's a phase, that maybe stress or time has just made things dull for a while, but your heart knows better, because real affection isn't mechanical. It's felt, it's soft and slow and alive. It speaks without words, and when love is present, even the smallest touch can say everything. But when love fades, even the deepest intimacy starts to feel hollow. You can't fake connection, not in a touch, not in a kiss. And when the physical closeness becomes empty, that emptiness slowly starts to spread, until you're lying next to someone who feels miles away. 8. He flirts with others openly. There's a different kind of heartbreak that hits when the person you love doesn't even try to hide the way he treats others. When he flirts openly, right in front of you, without guilt or hesitation, it makes you feel invisible. You watch the way he laughs, the way his eyes light up for someone else, and it feels like a punch to the chest. It's not always physical. It's in the way he gives attention that used to be yours. in the compliments he never says to you anymore, in the way he seems more interested in someone else's presence than in your love. And worst of all, he brushes it off like it's nothing, says you're overreacting, tells you you're insecure. But deep down, you know when something doesn't feel right. When someone is committed to you, they don't make you question your worth. They don't seek validation outside the relationship. They don't let someone else feel more special than you. Because love means loyalty, not just in action, but in energy, in intention, in respect. You deserve someone who makes you feel chosen, not compared. Someone who makes it clear to the world that they're yours and you're theirs. But when he flirts with others like you don't matter, you start to wonder if you ever really did. And that doubt, that quiet ache in your chest, that's not love. It's a warning. 9. You feel more alone when you're with him. There's a loneliness that's louder than silence. It's the kind you feel when you're sitting next to someone who used to feel like home. You're with him, physically present, but emotionally, you're miles apart. And that hurts in a way that words can't fully capture. Because it's one thing to be alone, but it's another to feel alone in the arms of the person you love. You talk, but he's not really listening. You smile, but he's somewhere else. The connection that once lit up every room you entered together now flickers like a dying flame. You look at him and wonder if he notices the way you're slowly breaking inside. But he doesn't. Or maybe he does, and just doesn't care. You used to feel safe with him, understood. Now you feel unseen, unheard, unwanted. And every moment spent together feels like a reminder of how far things have fallen. You laugh to fill the silence. You reach out hoping he'll reach back, but all you get is distance disguised as presence. Love isn't just about being there. It's about feeling there. And when you're with someone who makes your heart feel more empty than full, that's not love. That's a quiet goodbye, stretched out over time. And the hardest part? You're holding on to someone who already let go, just without saying it out loud. 10. He hides things or keeps secrets. When love is real, it comes with honesty. Not just in the big things, but in the small moments too. But when he starts hiding things, conversations, plans, emotions, you feel it, even if he never says a word. There's a shift in the air, a gut feeling you can't shake. Suddenly, his phone's always face down, the late replies become normal, and his stories don't quite add up. It's not just about what he's hiding, it's about how it makes you feel. Unimportant, unworthy of the truth. You begin to question everything. You ask gentle questions and get defensive answers. You hear, "It's nothing," more often than, "Here's the truth." And over time, the doubt creeps in. Not because you're insecure, but because trust needs openness to survive. And he's closed that door. Secrets in love create space. Space between hearts. Space filled with silence, fear, and 1,000 unanswered questions. You're left wondering what else you don't know, and the relationship starts to feel like a guessing game you never agreed to play. What hurts the most isn't even the secrets themselves. It's knowing he chose not to trust you with them. Real love doesn't hide. It shares. It doesn't protect lies. It protects the connection. And when someone starts choosing secrecy over honesty, they're choosing distance over closeness, even if they're still holding your hand. 11. You're always the one apologizing. It starts with small arguments, moments where things go wrong, where feelings get hurt. But slowly, you begin to notice that no matter what happens, you're always the one saying sorry, even when it wasn't your fault, even when your heart was the one that got bruised. You apologize just to keep the peace, to hold things together, to stop him from pulling further away. And at first, you tell yourself it's love, that you're being mature, understanding, patient. But over time, it doesn't feel like maturity. It feels like surrender, like you're shrinking parts of yourself just to make him stay. Every fight becomes another moment where you carry the blame, even when your only mistake was asking for more, needing to be heard, or showing that something hurt. When one person is always apologizing and the other never does, it stops being a relationship. It starts becoming emotional imbalance. You begin to feel like the problem, like you're too much, too emotional, too needy. But you're not. You're just trying. You're just feeling. You're just human. Love should be a space where both hearts are equal, where both voices matter. And if you're the only one bending, breaking, and saying, "I'm sorry," just to hold it all together, then maybe you're not loved, just tolerated. And that truth is harder than any apology you've ever had to say. 12. Deep down, you constantly question his love. It's the feeling you don't talk about, but it lingers, quiet and heavy. You wake up wondering if he really loves you and go to sleep, hoping today wasn't another sign that he doesn't. You replay his words, searching for meaning. You overanalyze his silence, his tone, the way he looks at you or doesn't. And even in moments of closeness, there's this ache, a whisper inside you asking, is this real, or am I just holding on to the idea of love? Real love brings peace. It makes you feel safe, seen, and sure. But when you're constantly questioning it, that's your heart telling you something is missing. Not always something dramatic, not always something you can point to, but something that feels off. You try to brush it away, tell yourself you're just insecure, that you're overthinking. But it never really leaves, does it? Because love shouldn't feel like confusion. It shouldn't feel like you're always trying to convince yourself that it's still there. It should feel like trust, like clarity, like being chosen, every single day. When you have to beg your heart to believe in someone's love, maybe it's because that love was never steady to begin with. And the hardest part is knowing that deep down, you've always felt the truth. You just weren't ready to accept it. But now, maybe you are.